Good morning, everybody. It is an overcast Columbus Day morning here in the great Gettysburg area, Adams County. We're actually in Fairfield now. What a weekend. What a crazy, fun, action-packed weekend. I'll tell you a little bit about it when some people get in here so that they can actually hear it. But let's see. I'll give you the weather as I do every day. 60 degrees, cloudy, a little bit of blue peeking in between the clouds here and there. So it's not a terribly awful cloudy day. We did have some rain yesterday, but that's okay. Wundermunke, hello, how are you? Francis, hello, how are you? Robert, good morning to you. And okay, so what a fun weekend we had. Jeffrey, hello. It is a glorious day to be alive. In fact, every day you're alive is a glorious day, even the shitty ones. You know, because those they suck in the moment, but they build character. They build character. Pardon me. So let's see. My weekend started with Friday. As you saw, I did some live streams with Bo from the one live stream with Bo from the set of Gettysburg 1863, which I joked with him that it's Gettysburg Christmas 2 and all that stuff, or Gettysburg Christmas 1863. It's not. He originally, I think, intended to do that, but it as he was writing it, it turned into something else, and it deals more with a family. It's a fictional family living through the aftermath of the battle in Gettysburg while their soldier boy is away, escapes a prison camp, and tries to make his way home. And so it is. I'm interested to see this. I'm interested to see this, especially after watching the fight scenes in the street. Definitely higher budget than a Gettysburg Christmas, which is great because they could do more with that. And so after we did the live stream, I went down to BWI Airport. By the way, this is the mansion house coming up on the left here. That big, beautiful house there. Talk about that in a second. But went down to BWI to pick up one of the actors from the film by the name of Eric Nelson. Maybe you don't know that name, but if you watched 1883, you certainly know his character of Ennis, one of the cowboys. Frankly, the only cheerful character in the entire series. And he played the girl, what's her name? Elsa. He played Elsa's first love interest. Picked him up in the evening. Stopped at Applebee's on the way back because he was hungry. Had some good conversations in there. Cool guy, nice guy, very normal guy. And, of course I had to throw in, I'd love to interview you. And so the next day, so then my job was basically kind of what it was when Bruce Boxleitner was in town and Lee Majors, to kind of keep them entertained. So Eric had nothing to do in the morning, and then noon, I think we thought that he had to get fitted for his wardrobe. So I took him down to the set to get fitted. But while we were there, everybody else was over at the cemetery set, which if you follow us on Facebook, I did a video with Bo and I driving out there. And so he couldn't get fitted. We hung around a bit, talked to the Liberty Rifles, and then he's like, well, I want to go back to my room to study my lines. And I was like, all right. So I took him back to the hotel. And then he texted me a little while later and he said, how about we do your interview at 4. So I said, great. So I picked him up, went over to the studio. We did an interview for about an hour and a half, hour 20, something like that. And then we went down to the set to watch the fight scene in the street, which was pretty cool. And then that was it as far as me and the movie goes, because Sunday comes and now I have to get ready for the Tavern talk. And this is what sucks about realizing when you're almost 50 that you have ADD, is that Jen Murray, who does she was the guest, she prepared information for us to study weeks ago. I sent it out to everybody weeks ago. I printed it out weeks ago. I started to go through it a week ago, and never had another moment to sit and do it again until yesterday morning. So I started reading yesterday morning. Oh, and then, but wait, so there was another hiccup. I get home, so we have, one of those water filtration systems with the UV light, and the light, it only lasts a year. Replace it. So we got the bulb. We go to replace it, and the casing that protects the bulb from the water slipped out of my fingers, and a little tiny bit, smaller than a dime, but a little bit of it chipped off right at the bottom, creating a hole, rendering it useless. And so we looked it up. What happens if can you put it in with a hole? No, you can't, because it protects the system from all that crap. And so, okay, great, we have no water. And I'm like, this is not good. I have to shave my head for the show tomorrow. I have to shower. Where do you do the necessaries? This was not a good situation. So we said, well, here's what we'll do. I'll go to a hotel room, and then in the morning I'll take a shower, and then I'll come home. I'll give you the key. I say this to Cindy, and then you go to the hotel room. And she's like, fine. So that's what we did. And then she spent, God bless her, she spent Sunday, while I'm running around like a madman getting ready for the show, she spent Sunday tracking down a plumber. And we found one who's actually the only one that's open 24 hours a day. They came, they had the part. That was the other thing. We couldn't get the part anywhere. No stores here had it. Lowe's didn't have it. Home Depot didn't have it. Anyway, they had the part on hand. They brought it over. They fixed it. I was able to take a shower this morning, and that's wonderful. Sucks not having water. Never had no water before. Never. I went like a week without electricity during Hurricane Sandy, but we had water. We had a gas heater. We had gas. That was fine. No electricity you can live with. No water, not easy. Not easy. Anyway, so then so I'm getting ready. I'm gathering all the gear, bringing it over. I go to the mansion house a little early to kind of get some peace and quiet and study. So I'm sitting at the bar studying, and then the crew starts arriving. We set up, and the audience starts arriving. Well, Jen Murray arrived first with Dennis Fry. And we kind of all chatted for a bit there. That was fun. And then the audience arrived, and everybody went and mingled with the audience. It was a good audience, lively audience, great people in it. And we were talking about John Brown, not John Brown's raid. Well, at least that wasn't the intention. But we did spend a lot of time on John Brown's raid. And for patrons, I'm releasing, I just put the Little Bighorn one out in full with no edits whatsoever. The only thing I did so that it would be easier for you to hear was I kind of touched up the sound a bit to get rid of the echo in the room and the sound of the compressors and stuff in the refrigerator behind the bar and all that jazz. But otherwise, it is completely untouched. You have us, getting ready and adjusting shots and doing all that stuff beforehand, just to show you how much work goes into doing these things. We don't just set up a camera on a tripod and shoot. We take it seriously. We've got 5 cameras. We've got the whole system that we set up here. This was our first time doing it, and then each time we get a little bit better, a little bit more accustomed to the room and working with each other and everything like that, which is great because we're looking to do a lot more later on. So anyway, where was I? So the show starts, and it is John Brown is a guy who gets people's emotions going. But I loved the audience because it was a really good mix of people coming from different perspectives about John Brown himself. The first question I asked was, prior to reading all this information, what was your, did you look at John Brown as a hero? And then people raised their hand. And then I said, did you look at him as a terrorist? And people raised their hand. And then somebody raised his hand and said, kind of a little bit of both. And, kind of, I'm not sure what to think. And so that was good. And then we defined certain words. I looked up the definition of terrorism. I looked up the definition of insurrection. And then I looked up to see what the definition of terrorism was in the 1850s. There was no legal definition of terrorism in the 1850s. What we call terrorism today would have been prosecuted very much like the way John Brown was prosecuted, in that he was charged with crimes that already exist. But there was no, like, in other words, murder, sedition, insurrection, treason, things like that. But there was no terrorism laws. So that was kind of interesting. And then I asked the audience, I said, do we all agree with these definitions? Is this how you define these words too? And they said yes. And I said, great, we can move on and understand each other. And it was really good. There was, people got worked up, not in a bad way either. Like it was passionate, I would say. And I loved it. I thought it was just a great mix of people. Jen did a great job. Dennis Fry was in the audience, and he was good too, because he kind of led from the audience. I really should have double billed him and Jen, or let him take my place and let Jen and him do it together. If I had realized ahead of time that would have been the smarter thing to do. But whatever, I didn't. And these are things that I'm going to live with. Let's go to we'll go to the second day and third day, because I got to get coffee. So anyway, we had a really, really good tavern talk. If you saw the pictures that we put up, I got that picture of John Brown staring into the camera with his right hand raised, blown up and printed on a canvas. And we hung it on the wall behind the bar, which I think it looked great up there. And at the end, I got one of those gold leaf markers and had everybody in the audience sign it, because I don't know, I just felt like it would be cool. I don't have a plan with that. Actually, as I said to Dennis Murphy, not Dennis Murphy, Dennis Fry, I said, I know this isn't going to last forever, and one day I'm going to want, memories or things to remind me of the good days. And so I think that's why I'm getting this signed. And depending on what we do for the next one, actually, I think Ken Gavin is bringing the stuff that goes on the wall. So it's not my stuff to have people sign. So, but maybe we'll get something else. Maybe I'll print off something else to have signed. I don't know. We'll figure that out later. But anyway, it was a good weekend. A lot of stuff going on, and it seemed like everything just kind of worked. I haven't heard of any real horror stories with the movie. I talked to Bo this morning. He said they did have one issue with a snag with there was like a certain, I think it was a connector. They had rented lightning lights for a scene they were doing at the Daniel Lady farm, and there was a component missing that would have made it difficult. It couldn't work without this component. But they improvised, and that's what you do. You improvise. You figure it out. And so they did, and they got lightning anyway. But it wasn't with those lights, so it was, a little bit of a bummer because they had to spend the money on that. But otherwise, he said that everything went really smoothly. The town really was excited about it, which is a great thing to see. And a lot of people online were excited about it, and that's nice to see too. And then they're going to resume filming in January. I'm not even looking at the comments yet, so I'm just going to say this right now. I do not, nor does anybody else, know when or where it will be out. They have to make it first. And I do believe they're in discussions about distribution, but that is not set in stone yet. the minute they know, they'll let all of us know, and I will be a redundancy there for the sake of informing everyone. And so I'll let you know once they know, and once I know that they know, and all that jazz. Otherwise, it was a great time. Well, let's see what you guys are up to here in the comments. Okay, going back to the beginning there. Good morning, Chet. How are you? Barbara, good morning. Francis says, did you get a part in the movie? No, I tease Bo about that. I don't really think I would be good in a movie like that. I don't think I'd be good in a movie at all. I don't think I'm photogenic there, so I would, I'm not an actor, in the sense that I'm not. Actually, I was talking about this with Eric Nelson, who's in the movie. In case you joined us late, I was talking about him in the beginning. I said to him, I was like, "How do you remember your lines?" I said, "Because that's a problem that I have." And he goes, "Well, it's like anything else. You have to keep doing it. Like it's with practice, you get better at it." And I said, "Well, do you have a certain technique that you use, or, was it just from repeating it over and over again?" And he said, "No, it's probably just from repeating it over and over again. I don't really think about it, but now it's easy to do, and I can do it." And I said, "Yeah, see, I don't think I'd be able to do it." So and Bo, I think, teases back. He's like, I've got an idea for you, but I think he's just saying that to shut me up. But I'm also not really serious about it. Like, if I were serious, I would approach him seriously. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't make it a joke. Every time I bring it up, it's always a joke, like to bust his balls. But if I really seriously thought I would be any good in it, I would come to him and I'd be like, "Listen, I can do this. And here, let me show you." And then I would do a tap dance. And he's like, "That's not written anywhere in the screenplay." And I was like, "What screenplay? I didn't read the screenplay. I'm just showing you what I could do. Put me in, Valerie, good morning. James, good morning. Jeff says, yes, he was that spot on. Never thought of it till now. What's that? I don't know what you're talking about there, Jeff. I should have been reading as I was blabbing. Sorry. Ryan Dunn, said, hello, William, Paranormal Brew. Miss it there so much. Coming get there before that. That is so. It's not that far away. I'll tell you why. Oh yeah, homeless cameo. Yeah, for some reason he didn't like that idea. He's like, "There's no homeless people in the script." I'm like, we're not we're in the background. There's no tree in the script, but you got trees in the background. James says, good morning, Matt. Are you guys going to get rain today? Well, I don't know. There's clouds. We did have rain yesterday, but I don't know. I can't tell you. Perhaps. I don't look at the forecast. I can't do anything about it, Good morning, Lewis.
Good morning. How are you?
Sorry to interrupt your tour. I just happen to know this guy. Don't believe a word he says. He makes it all up. You want to get lunch later, or are you going to be around?
I got to go back home and see my kids.
Okay.
I'll see you Saturday.
Oh yeah, it's the tour.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
People need to bring chairs.
I'm going to tell him. I've been telling him. Yep. Thanks.
care.
Thanks for the reminder. That was the great Lewis Trott. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you're coming to our tour next Saturday, as Lewis just reminded me, bring chairs. We're going to do it here at the Warfield House, Warfield Farm. I'm not sure exactly where we're going. We're not going into the house, unfortunately. I'm going to actually ask Chris Gwynn if he could get us in there, but then the shutdown happened. So there goes that. But we'll be out in this area here, and when you come and park near this area, on the road, all four wheels on the road, where legal, but do not use the parking lot by the Longstreet Tower. We need to leave that open for first class visitors. So don't do that. But you can park where I stopped to talk to Lewis by the Louisiana Monument if you want. You can stop, you can park anywhere. But anywhere that's legal, but don't park in the parking lot. And as Lewis said, bring chairs. It is a long 15-hour tour that we're doing. No, I'm just kidding. It's a static tour. We're not moving around the area. We're just going to enjoy, hopefully, some pleasant weather and talk about African American Gettysburg. And I don't know. I'm going to bring a chair because I don't want to stand that long. My old man back isn't much for standing for too long. Paranormal Brew says it still looks beautiful there. You know, unless it's one of those rainy days, like cloudy days, where it's just one solid sheet of gray clouds and there's no, there's no depth to anything. Like, it's just flat. Everything's flat. There really isn't a time where it doesn't look beautiful around here. James says, remind me of something that happened when I was reenacting. A tourist asked one of my pards, what do you do when it rains? He says, you get wet. Amen. Amen to that. Can't do anything about it. Well, you can get out of it. But if you can't get out of it, you get wet. But you can't stop it. Yes, Jeff, Saturday will be an amazing Sit in the Park tour. We announce our Listener of the Year and present his or her award. And I think he or she will really like it. Put some thought into it. I put thought into all of them. I try to find something that symbolizes that person's contributions to the show, or what it is that we all know them for, or something like, or whatever, or something that is symbolic of that year. The first one, let's see, we've got to go back. What was that? 2022, I believe, was the first time we did Listener of the Year, and it was Estella Beard, and she got a beaver hat because that was the year of the beaver. That's when the beavers issue down in the Valley of Death really started to, I guess, start pissing people off, because they realized the powers that be weren't being honest with us about them. They'll up and leave. No, they're not. There's no predators there. They're going to stay. And so they're there still. And so that was all the talk, all the rage. And so I got her a beaver hat. The next year, 6 Questions Lentz was Listener of the Year. And he got a full body bubble wrap suit. And then the following year, Grant O'Brien from Australia, he was the Listener of the Year. And he got a stained glass brigade flag, Greens Brigade, made by Jessie Weedleton, who has a little side hustle called Captured Colors Glass. And she's quite the artist with stained glass. And I bought one of those from her for Grant, expecting Grant to visit us in the following spring. And he did not. He did not. And so it still sits in the studio, only because I'm lazy. Otherwise, I would have mailed it to him. But I also think I'm going to keep it here to force Grant to get on that airplane for that 15-hour or whatever ungodly number of hours flight that is, and come and visit us all here in Gettysburg. But not so much for us, but for his sake. I think it's he's one of these people who needs to absolutely come here and see Gettysburg. I think we'll all learn what a nerdgasm sounds like in Australian. Like or nor, And so it'll be a lot of fun to listen to Grant do that as we take him to all these historic places, because, you know, it's one thing to watch this video as I go through these historic sites, like, for example, the National Cemetery up there to the left, Evergreen Cemetery straight ahead. You know, that's one thing, but you really can't, you know, places have a feeling. They've got a vibe, I think is the way the kids say it today. And you don't get that from a video. You can, but that has to be a really skillful videographer or filmmaker to give you that feeling. But nothing, even that. Standing on the ground, feeling the breeze in your face, smelling the air. Depending on what time of year it is around here, you might smell manure, or you might smell fresh cut grass and start sneezing. A lot of things go into your experience here. Obviously, the people that you'll be with when you explore the battlefield, the guide that you have, all these things contribute to it that videos cannot do. And I certainly appreciate everybody that watches our videos and everybody else's videos, and because I understand, like, you want to be here, you want to see what it's like, and you can't get here for one reason or another. But if you can, if you're able-bodied and you can get out here, you know, if it's expensive or whatever, you know, just start saving your pennies one by one and you'll get there. But get here, whatever you can do to get here, do it, because it is something that has changed so many people's lives. It changed mine, for sure. The minute I came here, that would be 30 years ago. Well, it will be 30 years ago next year. Something changed in me, and I knew in my heart of hearts that before I died, whenever that would be, whether it's in my 20s, not the dying, but sometime in my life, whether it's in my 20s, my 30s, my 40s, 50s, 60s, retirement, whatever, I have to move in Gettysburg. I have to move to Gettysburg. Because every time I visited it and left it, I felt this tugging on my insides. Like when you miss, you know, when you go on a family vacation and you have to kennel your dog as a little kid, and you miss your puppy, you know, you miss your dog, or you miss a child or a parent, or, you know, or someone who passed away, and it's that painful. That's the same feeling I get to this day when I'm not around here for too long. And that told me that, you know, I think I have to move here. And I did twice. And I learned that lesson. So come and visit, because you never know. Of course, now that I have moved here, I strongly discourage everybody else from moving here, because I also moved here to flee the urban sprawl of New Jersey, and all that comes with that. And don't bring that here, please. Thank you. Let those developers who put up those McMansions and cookie cutter neighborhoods lose their investment by not moving here and buying them. Thank you very much. Okay, where are we now? Oh, that's a good idea. Who is that? All right, let me go back here. Hold on. Oh, Jeff, you were talking about the only cheery character in 1883 that, of course, spoiler alert, they had to kill off. Yeah. Well, that was, of course, on purpose. That we were talking about that. Taylor Sheridan decided to do that because he didn't want to make a Hollywood Western. He wanted to make a true-to-life Western. And that's what happens when you play with guns. You know? You can get hurt. And when you're out in the middle of nowhere, bad things happen.